Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In this video we are going to discuss something about the quad menu. So quad menu is when we select an object and right click. As you can see the 4 panes window here, this is called the quad menu. Now on the right side on that menu, this is called transform. These are the same as here on the top panel. For example, the move, rotate, scale, select are the same buttons are here, the move, rotate and scale. So we can easily right click and can do the same work with our object. For example, I want to move my object, select the move, and now I can move the object. Same as right click, rather than going here, just we simply can right click and select the rotate, and we can rotate our object. And same as the scale, and we can scale them. There are many other features of quad menu. Just right click again, and as you can see this object, unhide all, hide by name, hide unselected, hide selected. We can hide our object. For example, I want to hide my selected object, so just click and hide. As you can see, my object is being hidden. Now we want to unselected all, so we can unhide all. We can hide unselected, so the selected object will be unhidden, all the unselected object will be hide. So this is another nice feature. For now I just unhide all. Now when we right click and the quad menu appears, now these two panels are pretty much the same for every object, but when we select some other kind of object, as you can see, it appears as a 4-pane window. These two panels are pretty much just changed for any kind of object. This can be according to the object, and these two panels are the default panels. It can be on any object, it can be the same on any object, as you can see. Now I shouldn't make a note that the hide panel is also here in the display panel. You can also hide the objects from this, and as you can see, here are the all, non and invert, and many other options. In this panel we can hide our geometry. We can hide the shapes, as there is no shape yet in our scene. We can hide the lights. As you can see, these only lights are being hiding. We can hide the camera, we can hide the helpers, the space wraps, particle system and the bone objects. Now we just move to this hide panel. As you can see, here are the pretty same thing like this quad menu. We can same hide unselected, we can hide unhide all, and we can hide by name. For example, I hide this, and we can choose the any object we want to hide. For example, the ball, and the ball will be hide, so unhide all. Like the same, we can hide by hit. This is another feature. It is not available in the quad menu, and we can do that. Hide by hit, select this and choose the object you want to hide. This will be hidden. Okay, for unhide all. So this is a very nice feature. If you had more complex geometry and you had to select a particle object, or you had to work on a particle object, so you can do that. For example, I want to work on this ball, and I right click and bring the quad menu, so here I can hide unselected, so anything other will be hidden, only the ball will be unhide, and I can work on that. Unhide all. Another very nice feature is the freeze. Here is the freeze. So what freeze do? Freeze just allows you to see the object, but they doesn't allow you to select the object. So we have a complex geometry, and we just freeze other objects we don't want to work on or select. Just go and freeze them, and you can just see them, but you can't select them by accidentally. So the freeze option is available in two shortcut menus. The one is in quad menu. Here, as you can see, unfreeze all, freeze selection, and the other one is in the display panel, as you can see here. So this is same as the hide and unhide. Just freeze selected, freeze unselected, freeze by name, freeze by head. For example, just freeze selected. The selected object will be freeze. Now we can't select this object. For example, if we has a complex geometry, and we want to work on something, but we also want to see this object, something like this, so the freezing option is very nice for that. As you can see, I can't select this ball. Okay, just go and select the unfreeze all, right click and unfreeze all. As now you can see, I am able to select this ball. One thing other you can notice, when we freeze the selector, and you can see the color of the objects. The color of the objects just also changed to a gray color. So this indicates that this particular object is selected. For example, select this, and you can right click and just go and freeze selection. Freeze this one. As you can see, it's changing the color, so that means this kind of color is selected and they are the freeze. Okay, just right click and unfreeze all. We can do it by here, and we can do it in this display panel too. The quad menu contains many other options, such as we had discussed freeze and hide. So you can use all of them, but one option is very important, and we must use all these, and that is the object properties. Just right click to bring up the quad menu and select object properties, and this little a very beautiful control panel which will be appear, which will allow you a fully control over your objects. We can also hide our object by here. We can also freeze our object by clicking and checking here, and we can do many other things with our object. For example, just this here is other display option. Just select this see-through, hit OK, and as you can see, our object just got semi-transparent. So for example, let me zoom in, and we can just see through this object. As you can see, this is a very nice option. For example, we had a very complex geometry, and we want to something selection here, and we can just easily select our things here. Okay, go back to the object property, uncheck this. Here is another option, display as box. Just check this and hit OK. As you can see, as you can see, our object, it brings a line on the place of our object. It brings just lines of box, and our box just disappears. We can select our object, and as you can see, we can move it, and we can do other things with that, as you can see. So this is a very nice option. For example, we had a lot of geometry in our scene. We had a complex scene, and the scene is a very high resolution and graphically very high. So just we can select our object and convert it to as a box. So our scene will be very easy to refresh. It will take a very less time to refreshing and to navigating our scene, and to rotating or any other operation. Okay, go back to the object properties and check this. So here are many other options such as see-through and display as box, the backface tool, edges only, vertex sticks, track, and many other things as you can see in this. Never degrade. So here on the right side panel, this is the rendering controls. We can just uncheck this renderable, and our object, our selected object will be no render. For example, when we render, everything other will be rendered, but this selected object, the renderable is unchecked on that object properties will be no render. Here are many other options such as inherit visibility, visible to camera. This object will be not visible or visible to camera, and as you can see, visible to reflection or refraction, receive shadows. By checking or unchecking this object, this will be not receiving, this object, particular object will not receive any kind of shadows, and cast shadows, apply atmosphere, and you can just play around with this. We will all discuss this option in our other videos. So that was the object properties, and that is very important object, and I think that is a very shortcut object to control our object. So here are some other panels with that object properties. This is the advanced lighting, and you just control your lighting here. This is the mantle ray option. You can control mantle ray here, and this is the user defined here tab. So that was the quad menu, and quad menu is really easy to use, and I think this is a very nice feature, and this is a very shortcut rather than going here and select move, rotate, and other options are going there and freeze or hide your objects. And this is a very nice feature.